In 2022, Carly Rain Wood, a 20-year-old from Omaha, was murdered. She went to celebrate a friend's birthday and was shot 8 times. She had been at the party for only 15 minutes. 5 other victims were also shot. Carly Rain's killer was previously convicted of 4 different felonies, but he had been released. In February, Stephanie Mintner was fatally stabbed at a bus stop in Fairfax, Virginia. She was a 41-year-old mother. Her killer illegally lived in the U.S. for over a decade. He had been charged and released over 30 times, including for rape and multiple stabbings. Last August, Irina Zarutska was fatally stabbed on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina. She was a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee. Her killer had been arrested and released 14 times in the last 20 years. These tragic deaths point to a gaping error in our system. Not only are we doing a bad job of stopping violent crime, but we are then letting these offenders freely roam our streets. If a repeat violent offender is being released into the community, the public deserves to know. Carly Rain, Stephanie, and Irina deserve better. That's why I introduced the Carly Rain Wood Act this week. This bill targets lawless repeat offenders. The Bureau of Justice Statistics is responsible for studying criminal behavior. They undertook a landmark study of state crime looking at outcomes for prisoners released in 2012. 56% of violent offenders released in 2012 were arrested again within 3 years. About 2/3 of released violent offenders were arrested again within 5 years. It's clear that many violent criminals don't give up crime once they're released. Despite the results of this study, repeat violent offenders aren't monitored. They are allowed to go unchecked looking for the next crime to commit. The Carly Rain Wood Act would alert people to this threat. This bill would create a national registry for repeat violent offenders. It's similar to the National Sex Offenders Registry. The database would be publicly searchable and provide community notifications. Just like with the Sex Offenders Registry, Americans would know who is living in their neighborhood. That way the public can make safer choices about who they interact with. If a felon is convicted of 2 or more qualifying offenses, they would be required to register. That includes crimes such as arson, murder, or kidnapping. They would provide their name, address, place of business, license plate, and publicly useful information to local authorities. Local law enforcement would be required to provide criminal histories, registration status, outstanding warrants, and identifying information. This would help monitor repeat violent offenders. Threats can be avoided, and our streets can be safer. The public deserves to know when repeat violent offenders are released into their communities. Employers, families, and acquaintances should know when a worker or neighbor has a history of violent criminal acts. Keeping this information secret is a grave injustice. We need to do more for the victims and their families. Carly Rain matters. Stephanie matters. Irina matters. We owe their memories more. We can't allow repeat violent offenders to terrorize our communities. A national registry would make our streets safer. It could prevent the next tragic act of violence. That's why I'm fighting to make the Carly Rain Wood Act